Okay, so I want to spend a few minutes talking about final projects. I'm giving you your choice. And, you know, for those of you who are really up for the challenge and want to push yourselves, you know, the plan to put together a 7 to 9 minute video, I love it, and, you know, I encourage you to do that. The advantage to it is that you're not necessarily speaking in public. You're speaking in front of a camera somewhere else, and then, you know, you'll be introducing your speech, which will give you about a 30-second speech in public. But all the rest of the rules apply. You know, you have to do exactly what you're doing. Put together an outline. I prefer that you don't memorize a script, or when you're reading on camera, or when you're on camera, to speak extemporaneously, not from a script. So there are, you know, the skills are still being utilized that we've learned this semester. The advantage to it is that we can upload these things ahead of time and, you know, watch a few of them on our own and then talk about them when we get to class. They beat this into our heads that even though you might not, you meaning me, might not give a final exam, we still have to have that last session with you, because there are so many hours that comprise a course, and if we don't spend that last hour with you, then technically we're not fulfilling the requirement to give you 3 credits of credit for the course, okay? So, but what I'd rather do in that last session is to, you know, watch a few Pechakuchas and watch a few videos and talk about those, and talk about the ones that we all watched on our own, okay? So I don't have the deadlines piped in here yet as far as when everything will be due, but it'll be due soon enough so that those last couple of sessions can be used, or that last weekend can be used, looking at videos. And hey, what would you rather do? Watch your friends on video or read and study for an exam? You're going to have to do both, but this will be a nice break, I think. So we can talk more about that, but understand that what we're looking for is a 7 to 9 minute video where you've introduced the topic and talked about it a little bit on camera. And then if you want to start, you know, go into graphics, still images. I'm thinking back to Charles's environmental thing where he had lots of diagrams and pictures of stuff. That's great, and then you just narrate while they're on the screen. If you want to plug in video of other things, other people, that's fine too. Just remember that, you know, the more production you put into it, the bigger a project it becomes, more editing is necessary. Yes, ma'am?
Wait, what's it about, our final project?
That's mine. I'm so sorry.
We can cut that out. We can cut that
I'm
out.
so sorry.
It's about a topic that you care about.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and you can persuade, you can inform. It's either one of those two things. You can persuade or
And
perform.
before you said it, where it's like a group thing, is it still a group thing, or is
You
it
can
individual?
pair up with somebody, in which case you'll each have to be on camera for, you know, an equivalent amount of time. You know, but other than that, you know, I think if I were doing this, I think that I would probably try to pair up with somebody, just because it would be a little more interesting and different than everything we've done so far. What else about video? Oh, and if you don't have, I mean, if there are people in the room who are, you know, really familiar with editing, especially in Adobe Premiere, because that's what the college has in the labs, you know, great. And if you partner up with somebody who you know is a good writer or a good speaker, and you happen to be a good editor, then great. I mean, you're both going to have to do a little of the speaking, but, you know. On the other hand, if you don't know that much about editing your video, I'm here to help you with that. And, you know, assuming that you can break some time out outside of class to meet, we can do, you know, some sessions that way. The last couple of classes will be basically workshops, and I'm going to schedule them in a computer lab. so that, you know, I can float around the room and help, and oh man, do I float. I can walk around the room and help people who need it and answer questions and all that. There's also a Moodle page that I'll send you to that has 4 tutorials that will at least, it explains the interface of the software and how to do simple things like splicing 2 video clips together, how to add text, how to add images, that sort of thing. So the resources are there, and you'll be, you know, using that, you'll be going through that on your own, and then when we get together, you know, I'll help you walk through, you know, I'll talk you through doing the actual stuff, okay? I have access to 16 of these little video cameras, so, you know, if everybody wanted to do video and you all teamed up, you'd be good to go. We'd have enough for the class. Now, if you want to do a PechaKucha, I also have a Moodle page that explains it. It actually has a template, and let me just explain what it is for those of you who don't know. It's 20 PowerPoint slides that are on the screen for 20 seconds each, meaning it's a total of 6 minutes and 40 seconds when you're done. It runs by itself. You stand up here and you give your speech. I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually use notes, at least in the samples that I watch. So you really have to have your topic down. It involves a lot of practice, but it can be really effective. And when you go to the Moodle page that I created, there's a bunch of examples of how other people have done it. And again, you take a topic that you really like. The rule is there's no text on the slides, so it's just basically 20 pictures that reinforce what it is you're talking about. And so if you want to do one of those, you know, at least you know you've got the PowerPoint template ready to go, with the transitions have already been placed in it. The last slide is where you put your sources, and that stays on the screen at the end, and then you say, that's my presentation, are there any questions? And the same holds true with that. You come to class, you know, for the workshop session in the computer lab, and I can work with you to help you import the images into PowerPoint if you need it. I don't know how many of you are, you know, can do PowerPoint in your sleep. I'm sure there are some, but if there are people who need it, you know, I'll be there for that too. And I love working with you guys, so if, you know, class time doesn't work for you, you can set up a session and we'll work in the library together. Okay? Any questions on either of these? If they do, don't point the camera at them. That would be a FERPA violation. Any questions? Okay. So then the next thing I wanted to talk about is what's happening next Tuesday. I will not be here next Tuesday. But one of the things that you may want to include in your presentation, either the PechaKucha or the video, might be an infographic. And has anybody seen, what is it called? I can't remember now. Let's just click on the link and go there. Ah, yeah, here it is. If I have this Moodle page that provides some definitions about infographics, why I use them and all that. And then the creation process, is that where the link is? Where is it under practical? Pictochart. Has anybody used this before? This is an online app that has a bank of images and a blank screen or templates, and you drag the things that you like to use for the pictures and put the text around them. Now, again, if you're doing a PechaKucha, you're not going to add pictures, but that doesn't mean you can't describe a process or something that, you know, like maybe how the produce gets to market or something, you know, and you can do that without any pictures or without any text, and just show a truck and a field and a barn and a store, things like that. It's really easy to put that stuff together, and then you can, you know, you can save it as a JPEG. And so your weekend or due Tuesday assignment will actually be to create one of these things. Okay, so for what is it, November 15th, I think, instead of coming to class, you can sit in your dorm in your jammies and your laptop and click on this link, which will take you to this Moodle page, creating infographics to showcase learning. And just start at the top and go through it. It won't take you very long. Yes, ma'am?
Do we press enroll me for?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's no code or anything to enroll, it just lets you in. And I've got all these sections compressed so that it doesn't take up a lot of space, but just click on the title and it'll tell you what an infographic is. In some instances there are videos. Most of them are just here's some examples of the history of graphics in information. And this describes why you might want to use them. And you see in between here to draw viewers in, and then there are examples of how they're used. And you know, USA Today, I don't know how many people still read the newspaper, but USA Today always has an infographic on the, I think below the fold. I don't know why they're showing it up there, but there's always an infographic that's kind of interesting every time. So that's your weekend project. Also, let's see. Also for the weekend, of course, you have one. I think this is the last chapter you have to read, and the last quiz you'll be taking. I think. Next week, next Thursday, we'll be doing an impromptu speech. There is one thing that, so you do this infographic thing, you upload it to the website Tuesday-ish, and then between Tuesday and Thursday, if you choose to do a video, click on Video Production Online Workshop for Students. It's another Moodle page. If you're doing PechaKucha, click on that one, and just review the content that's there, and we'll talk more about it before we do our impromptu speeches on Thursday. Okay? Let's see, do I have anything else? Yes, and for you, you people watching at home, this is important too. Somewhere in here, yes, right here where the big question mark is. Click on that link sometime between now and Tuesday and decide whether you're doing a PechaKucha, a solo documentary, or a team documentary. This should be an even number. Unless you're doing it with your imaginary friend. Okay? So, and then when we get together on Thursday, I'll get a list for you about who's teaming up with whom. Okay? Let's see. Any questions about it? Yes, ma'am?
For the infograph, you post it in questions, comments, and things. Right?
Yeah. Yep. And then everybody can see what everybody else has done, which I think is kind of cool. Yes, sir, Tim?
So for part of my, like if I did a solo documentary, could I have like guest speakers, like not like guest speakers, but like they appear for brief periods of time?
Yeah, just don't dominate with someone else.
Yeah.
Then I'll be grading them instead of you.
If I had a team one, do people have to, like if we're talking about a certain topic, let's say GMOs, do both people have to agree on the topic? Or
Not necessarily.
One person arguing for one thing, one person arguing for another?
Yeah, no, that could be cool. That could be really cool.
Just at me already.
Charles.
Yeah, that could be a really effective way to go. You know, or you could split up the topic. I've got some examples on that page that go to Seeker, and there's a few videos where there's two presenters, and one of them kind of picks up where the other one leaves off, and it's, they go back and forth. It makes for a really dynamic presentation. Anything else? Think about it over the weekend.